The Supreme Court has questioned the federal administrative state's reach. The federal government has grown beyond its constitutional boundaries. This overreach stifles innovation and infringes on liberties. Downsizing the federal government is a patriotic duty for all Americans. The Supreme Court emphasizes the need for restraint. In West Virginia v. EPA, the court curtailed the EPA's authority. We must realign our federal structure with constitutional limits. The federal government today regulates nearly every aspect of our lives. From the food we eat to the cars we drive, and even the way businesses operate, federal agencies impose numerous rules and mandates. This overregulation stifles innovation, burdens small businesses, and infringes upon personal freedoms. It creates a maze of bureaucratic red tape that hampers productivity and economic growth. Consider the myriad of regulations imposed by the Environmental Protection Agency. While some environmental protection is necessary, the extent of the EPA's regulatory reach often goes beyond what is reasonable or beneficial. Similar examples can be found with the Federal Communications Commission dictating media content or the Department of Education, setting policies that should be managed at the state or local level. The sheer volume of federal regulations and the complexity of compliance is overwhelming. Small businesses, which are the backbone of the American economy, are particularly affected. They often lack the resources to navigate this regulatory labyrinth, leading to closures or stifled growth. They are often tied up in court-fighting federal government lawyers. Who pays for the government's lawyers? The taxpayers? Yes, when we fight the federal government in court, we are paying the lawyers on both sides. The result is a less dynamic economy and fewer opportunities for Americans. This overreach is not just an economic concern. It is a fundamental issue of liberty. Every regulation represents a transfer of power from the people to unelected bureaucrats. It is a direct affront to the principles of self-governance and individual freedom. Downsizing the federal government is, therefore, a necessary step to restore these core American values. The Founding Fathers were acutely aware of the dangers of a powerful central government. Having fought a war against tyranny, they crafted a constitution designed to prevent such concentration of power. The 10th Amendment is a testament to their intent. It explicitly reserves all powers not delegated to the federal government to the states or the people. This amendment is a critical safeguard against federal overreach. James Madison, often referred to as the father of the Constitution, argued vehemently for a limited federal government. He believed that the powers of the federal government should be few and defined, primarily concerned with national defense, foreign affairs, and regulating interstate commerce. The rest, he argued, should be left to the states and the people. The 10th Amendment is not an outdated relic. It is a vital component of our constitutional framework. It ensures a balance of power that allows for diversity and innovation among the states. It empowers local governments to address issues more effectively as they are closer to the people they serve. Reaffirming the 10th Amendment is crucial in our efforts to downsize the federal government. It reminds us that the states are not mere administrative units of the federal government. They are sovereign entities with their own rights and responsibilities. By embracing this principle, we can restore the vision of a federal system that respects state autonomy and individual liberty. Section 4. Enumerated Powers. A glance at constitutional limits. The Constitution provides a clear framework for the federal government's role through the enumerated powers. These powers, outlined primarily in Article 1, Section 8, list specific areas where Congress is authorized to legislate. They include powers such as regulating interstate commerce, coining money, and maintaining armed forces. Any powers not listed are meant to be outside the federal purview. However, over time, the federal government has expanded its reach far beyond these enumerated powers. Agencies now regulate areas that the Founding Fathers never intended for federal oversight. This expansion undermines the constitutional balance and concentrates too much power in Washington, D.C. For instance, the Department of Education, established in 1979, has taken a significant role in shaping educational policy across the nation. Yet, education is not mentioned among the enumerated powers. Similarly, the Department of Health and Human Services exerts considerable influence over healthcare, another area not enumerated in the Constitution. Revisiting the enumerated powers can guide us in identifying areas for downsizing. By focusing federal efforts on its constitutionally mandated roles, we can eliminate unnecessary agencies and return many responsibilities to the states. This approach not only aligns with our constitutional principles, but also fosters a more efficient and responsive government. Section 5. Specific agencies for closure, a path to liberty. To begin downsizing, we must identify federal agencies that overstep constitutional bounds. First, the Department of Education. Education policy should be managed locally. Second, the Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA's regulations stifle economic growth. Third, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Housing policies should be local. And fourth, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives, ATF. The ATF infringes upon the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. Shutting them down prevents constant federal overreach by unelected bureaucrats. It promotes a decentralized, accountable government. Section 6. The benefits of a smaller government. Fiscal responsibility. Downsizing the federal government offers numerous benefits, chief among them being fiscal responsibility. The federal budget is bloated with expenditures on agencies and programs that exceed constitutional mandates. By reducing the size of the federal government, we can significantly cut spending and reduce the national debt. A smaller government also means lower taxes. With fewer federal responsibilities, there is less need for extensive revenue collection. This allows Americans to keep more of their hard-earned money, fostering economic growth and personal financial freedom. Lower taxes can stimulate investment and job creation, leading to a more robust economy. Moreover, downsizing promotes efficiency. Large bureaucracies are slow and inefficient, plagued by red tape and administrative bloat. By streamlining government functions, we can enhance service delivery and responsiveness. State and local governments, closer to the people, are better positioned to manage services effectively. Finally, downsizing restores the balance of power envisioned by the Founding Fathers. It reduces the risk of tyranny by decentralizing authority and returning it to the states and the people. This empowers individuals and communities to make decisions that best suit their needs, fostering a more vibrant and participatory society. Section 7. Conclusion: power to the states and the people. The call to downsize the federal government is not just about cutting costs. It is about restoring the balance of power that is central to our constitutional republic. By reducing federal overreach, we honor the intentions of the Founding Fathers and the principles enshrined in the 10th Amendment. It is a patriotic endeavor that seeks to reaffirm the sovereignty of states and the freedoms of individuals. The Supreme Court's recent rulings provide a legal foundation for this movement. They remind us that the federal government must operate within constitutional limits. By closing unnecessary agencies and focusing on enumerated powers, we can create a more efficient, accountable, and liberty-oriented government. The benefits of this approach are manifold. It fosters fiscal responsibility by cutting unnecessary spending and reducing the national debt. It stimulates economic growth through lower taxes and reduced regulatory burdens. Most importantly, it restores power to where it belongs, with the states and the people. Now is the time to act. Downsizing the federal government is a necessary step to preserve our freedoms and ensure a prosperous future for generations to come. It is a call to action that every patriotic American should embrace.